Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome back to my channel Soul Journey. My name is Beck Ahimsa, and today I wanted to talk about, since we're getting into the new year and we're getting into really diving deeper into owning our reality, owning our creation of reality, understanding our power as creators, and just really diving into our authentic expression on this planet, I wanted to talk about our relationship with our spirit guides. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about the relationship we have with them. And I feel like it's to the detriment of our experience here. Because oftentimes when we feel like a victim, or we feel like there's a sense of uncertainty or lack of control or mistrust, oftentimes our reality can seem quite hectic. And so I wanted to talk about something that I have experienced in my own journey, something that I have experienced through channeling, and just the overall messages that I receive and have heard from higher guides that I feel like people kind of miss. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how we can engage more consciously in our relationship with our spirit guides, or any higher dimensional being. So I want to start off by saying that I feel like a lot of people have kind of this mentality, and this is fairly reasonable considering our reality is very dualistic. It's very, this is my experience, and there's like the outer world. And oftentimes it can feel like you have no control over the outer world if you don't have a very clear and consistent awareness that this is always a reflection of what's going on within you. The other thing is that I think we often forget, because it's very easy to kind of say we have free will, say that this is our journey, but then often act like we're a victim to the journey, or act like there's a higher knowing that knows better and we're kind of along for the ride. And so I wanted to dispel some of these myths, because they really kind of lack the awareness of the collective awakening and the collective journey we have as consciousness as a whole and as a collective. So the first thing is that most people here on planet Earth are not as aware of the role they play when it comes to what they experience with their guides. And I'll give you an example. A lot of people that I talk to kind of feel like their guides kind of take the reins. You know, there's a lot of memes about it. People kind of talk about like, oh, they just showed up and started causing, you know, some crazy experiences. And oftentimes I believe that there's a couple things. One is there's a lack of awareness of how discomfort oftentimes is the conduit for what we've been asking for. Because we have to clear shadow, we have to clear all of these things, and because we haven't really asked how we want that experience to go, our guides just kind of come in and get it done as quickly as possible, which can often feel very hectic. The other thing is that we forget that oftentimes our asking is very unconscious or unintentional. Again, so we're like, I want a lot of money, or I want a lot of this, or I want to create this. But because we're not maybe doing the, putting all the effort we could into it, or not asking our guides to interact with us in a certain way, it kind of happens to us, so to speak. Even though it is like we're asking for it, it often doesn't look the way we want it to. And so what I think we kind of have lost grasp of is that this is a free will world. And our guides are not here to save us or to dictate our journey. And I have recognized how I kind of accidentally stumbled into having a very different experience with my guides, because I, a long time ago, asked for the type of relationship that I wanted. And so I know a lot of people who feel like, again, their guides kind of take over, or it feels like they take over rather. You know, they come up very strongly, or things just happen hectically. And there's also this victimhood of like, oh, the planets are this way, so I'm going to be a victim. Or, oh, this thing is happening, so I'm going to be a victim. Or my guides wanted this shadow work thing to happen, so I'm a victim of it. And what we're kind of missing is that guides don't do that. Guides only do what we ask them to do. And again, that can come up in an unconscious way. Like we can ask for like, I want abundance. And then our guides are like, okay. And because we haven't been clear or focused about how we want that to manifest, they do it how they want. Or they do it in the quickest way because they're, the least resistance. So something that I found that was extremely helpful, which again, I kind of stumbled upon on accident, was a long time ago when my guides started coming through. I asked them to be gentle. And I asked them to guide me through my awakening in a peaceful and gentle manner. And as I've gone forward, I have kind of taken it upon myself to be a conscious creator or a conscious party in my relationship with my guides. And I think this is something people don't often feel they're like allowed to do because it's like, well, they're higher consciousness, they know better. And it kind of puts you in the role of like, oh, it's a guru or a parent. And it kind of makes you lack responsibility for what your journey is looking like. And that's not how a healthy partnership relationship looks like. And I think a lot of people get discomfort around seeing their spirit guides as a partnership instead of it being like, oh, you're in charge or you know better, so guide me, I don't know better. And I feel like that's kind of a flawed way of looking at it because when guides actually do come through in channelings, when they come through, it's a very neutral exchange of energy. They are showing us their perspective because they do have a grander perspective, but they are also very interested and engaged in our perspective as being just as valid. Recently, in my most recent channeling, the beings that were channeling were talking about the fact that we have this concept here on planet Earth that the bigger perspective is always the better perspective, when that's not really inherently true. As people, we often find the microscopic just as fascinating of a view as we do looking at a range of mountains. And so when we stop seeing our guides as being better than us, it really changes the relationship. Because if you are in a partnership relationship, say romantic or not, having one person kind of always like bowing to the other one's will doesn't really actually equal out to a healthy relationship for both parties. And I feel like this is where we've kind of missed the mark when it comes to our relationship with our guides. And so I'll give you an example. The first time I channeled, I had a camera that would shut off after about 8 or 9 minutes. And I knew I was going to channel longer than that. I had this real intuition about it. And I was worried that if I was channeling, I wouldn't be able to, I didn't have anyone filming for me. And so I was like, oh God, like what happens if the camera turns off? Am I going to be in this weird state, blah, blah, blah. And so before I channeled, I just said, I got real clear. And I said, please pull me out of, like, if the camera's going to stop, please pull me out of the channel before it goes off so that I can stop the recording and hit record again. It was very simple, it was very clear, like you would with a team, like you would with beings or people who are assisting you. And I made my needs known. And I think that's something we often forget, that we can ask and our guides are happy to oblige. As long as, there isn't like some sort of deep-seated thing. What I found it has to be very pure. It has to be very honest and very authentic and open and just really real. So I had a fear. So oftentimes when I'm exploring channeling or I'm exploring going into a guided experience, I say, hey, like I have a fear here. And it's okay to express that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like when you're, say you were going to go, bungee jumping, or you were going to go do something that you're really scared of and you have a guide, you say, hey, this is my fear. I'm naming it. Can you assist me in being gentle? Can you assist me in showing me how I can move out of this? And from my experiences, my guides have been willing to oblige because they understand if I'm asking and honoring my truth, just like in a relationship, they can guide me better. They can assist me because I'm asking. And this comes back to the whole free will concept. And this is something that was channeled in my last channeling. They said, we're here to guide you, we're here to assist you, but we're not here to fix you. And so it's not like they are coming in and just wiping the slate and doing their stuff. If that's how it was, none of us would be here in physical form. We are actually the guiding force in this relationship because we're the physical beings who are actually shifting the vibration. We're the ones doing the work here. We're the ones doing the expansion. They're here to guide us and support us in that. So when we say, hey, this is my need, hey, this is how I would best be served, if you want to call it that, or assisted, I have experienced that they have always obliged. And so I encourage you to start understanding that this is your team. You're kind of like the head of the group, your squad. You're here in physical form. You're here at the leading edge of consciousness. And in physical form, we have some of the most, the grandest soul expansion. And then you've got your team. And so you're the one who actually should be leading, but understanding how to utilize your team and their best efforts. So if there's a guide that sees a certain area of consciousness, maybe it's a guide that is more about love and self-love, go to that guide and say, hey, this is what I'm working on. Assist me in my greatest expansion here. If you're looking for something in abundance, go to that guide. If you want to work on shadow work, maybe it's go to Kali. Maybe it's going to a being that's going to be really gentle with you if that's what you need. Learn how to utilize your team and their best efforts. Someone I was talking to recently talked about how it's really important to call in the guide that's good at the thing you want done. And I thought about that. I was like, that makes so much sense. I don't have a specific guide for abundance, but when you want to create abundance, instead of saying I'm going to figure out the guide that it is, say, I'm calling in the guide that can best assist me in creating a ton of money, and just sit there and wait for that guide to show up for you. It's about being a leader within your reality. It's about being a conscious creator. It's about being mindful. It's about understanding that this is your journey. I think a lot of people, and you can see it in the memes, the spiritual memes and stuff, it's like me and my spirit guides, and the spirit guides are dragging the person along. It's like, oh, I don't want to. And I understand it can feel that way, but that's totally because you are engaging in your relationship with your guides as a victim. You see them as these beings who are trying to pull you along. You see them as beings who are like, oh, Jesus, get up and do your work. That's not who they are. They're extremely neutral. They are extremely loving and present. And it only feels like that because you're resisting what they have to offer you, and you're not being clear with how you want to engage with them. So as we move into 2020 and we start really taking responsibility for our reality, our soul expansion, our authenticity, our truth, and really come into our power, it's important that we learn how to utilize our team. So if this resonates with you, or maybe it makes you a little uncomfortable, it's very possible this makes you uncomfortable because it's very easy to... There is a safety in believing that there's someone who knows better. And there's someone who's pulling you along, almost like a parent. There is a feeling of comfort there, but ultimately you're not going to get your greatest expansion or your most empowered state or your most confident state by staying in that reality. And so as you come into 2020, maybe ask your guides how they can serve you, how you can serve them. That's another thing that the guides talk about, right? The beings we channel, they say, hey, we're here to guide you, but we are also learning so much from your experience. They see just as much value in our reality and our experience. They find it fascinating. They're learning so much. They've most likely moved through a physical form and have gone farther, and then they're like, all right, well, now that we've moved into this, all of consciousness, what is physical experience learning now? Since they've already moved through it, they've moved through their version of physical experience, but now they're looking at, okay, what is at the leading edge of consciousness for physicality now? And they find that fascinating, and they want to engage in us. They're a team. They're our friends. They're our guides. I think, on this planet, we have a shortcoming where we see if someone has more knowledge, if someone is further along the journey than we are, that they're better than us, or we're not as worthy, a worthy partner in the relationship. And that's not how our guides see us. They see us as just as valuable of a team member because they're not in physical form. we're the ones doing the work. We're the ones here at the leading edge of consciousness. And they're like, awesome, we're going to assist this person because their expansion is going to expand all of us. So they see us as just as valuable of a team member of our, of your personal team. So, you have the physical form being, you have the different levels of guides, you have your higher self, you have your soul family, you have your extraterrestrial family, your earth family. There are all these levels of team that you can utilize in different ways. There are things that I can receive from my earth soul family who is incarnated here that my spirit family can't engage with. Maybe it's sexual energy. Maybe it's creating things here in the physical world. I need someone to literally physically go with me and do with these projects. That's something my incarnated family can do that my spirit family cannot do, at least not yet. And then there's things my spirit family can do that my incarnated family cannot do for me. So it's really important to understand that we're that other side of the coin for our spirit family, for our spiritual beings that are a part of our team. And so it's important to understand your vital role in that, because it's very easy to feel kind of like the odd man out. It's like, oh, I'm the physical being who doesn't have, the perspective. And I think a lot of us almost feel like we're getting in the way of our spirit guides. But in reality, we're the actual being that's doing the crucial work here, and they're here to assist us. And so it's important, like any relationship, to nurture that. Have a conversation with your guides. They're not just there to be utilized as a tool. Tap in with them. Be present with them. Have a conversation. Tap in. Say, this is where I'm at. Where are you at? I want to have this. And the more you really engage in that relationship, the more palpable it will be. The more you can trust it. When you're out in, outside of your meditation room and you're out and you're struggling with something, you can say, guys, what do I need to do? Like, come in for me. And you will get clarity. You will get focused energy, and it will be clear because you can trust the feeling. You trust the voices. You trust what that is. And from my experience, when I have been in that level of trust, they have never led me astray. I've always gone to amazing spaces. I have always been guided towards beautiful things past what I could even imagine. And so I highly recommend, in 2020, a lot of channelings have said things are going to become more palpable. We're going to start really engaging with our spirit family. And as we're ascending, they're going to be meeting us here. So we might be seeing them physically at some point. We're definitely going to be feeling them more intensely. What is happening with this? All right, sorry, I keep getting distracted. We are going to be engaging with them in a much more intense way. So it's important that you learn to recognize them, that you learn how to work with them so that when they come in for you, you know how to engage your team. And it's really important that we get to this space because it is going to really help our journey be more smooth, for one, but we're going to feel less of a victim. We're going to understand that we're a conscious creator with our guides, and it's going to feel so much better. It's going to feel so much more empowered, and it's really just going to make the whole journey feel more alive and expansive and exciting. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Please comment down below if this resonated, or if you have any questions, or if you've never even thought of it this way, or maybe this is stuff that, is coming up for you and this is a confirmation for you. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Before I go, I am going to pull a couple cards. I had several comments from you guys when I asked if you want me to pull more cards during videos. So I'm happy to oblige because it's one of my favorite things to do. So if you guys have any questions about these cards, definitely let me know. And if you'd like to check out my other social media platforms, those are in the description down below, along with my Etsy page, where you can check out my shop, where I have readings for purchase if you want a reading for more clarity past the readings I normally do. And I also have some cool other spiritual tools there on my site. Ooh, right all over the place. Okay, so the decks we're going to be using is the Frequency Tarot by Teal Swan. I think it's just Frequency Tarot, but I like to say the. All right, there's another card here that wants to come through. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so exciting. Oh, and that one too, why not? No. someone just called me. All right, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I wanted to pull some cards because you all said that you really appreciated it and enjoyed it. So let's do it. I feel like there's cards missing from this deck, and I'm not sure why. All right. Oh, okay. Come on. All right. So what I'm feeling like is for the collective, I have these 2 cards from the Teal Swan Tarot. And then I'm going to do like a 1, 2, 3 kind of card deal. So pick a number between 1, you know, sit, breathe. I'm just running. Okay. Pick a card between 1 and 3. And you can comment down below if you would like. If you want to comment the card you picked and then your experience with it, feel free to do that too. So these 2 cards from the Teal Swan deck are for all of us. And then pick 1, 2, or 3 for your personal card. All right, let's get into it. So from the Teal Swan deck, we have gratitude. That's so yummy. I highly recommend getting a frequency or the frequency deck because it's just really magic. Oh, and productivity. All right. So gratitude and productivity. I feel like that's really interesting. I feel like these are both kind of action. They're also very taking charge. When you have gratitude for something, you're really fully engaging with it. You're really stepping into a space of understanding the creative process. You're understanding that there's a purpose for everything and that there is a sense of well-being. And then with this productivity, well, it's really about taking action and really being clear and really being focused and understanding the power we have to create. And gratitude is a huge part of the creative process. The energy of gratitude or appreciation is of having, is of abundance, of understanding the gifts of each individual thing you experience. And so that can be really help with your productivity, which is when you feel like you feel like if you engage more focused in it, you're going to just create more of that. So I'm really feeling like that's the message for us going into this next week. All right, for those of you who pick card number 1, trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? All right. So, oh, by the way, this oracle deck is called the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell, and the other one is the Frequency Tarot by Teal Swan. So I feel like people who chose number 1, things are really starting to come up in your intuition, even with this video. It's like you've kind of got these ideas in the back of your head, but because they maybe make you a little uncomfortable or you're not quite sure, and you're like, oh God, like, you know, like, do I want to engage in that? Like, does that feel good? Like, maybe these are things you've never thought of, but maybe there's a little part of you and it's like, maybe we should check that out. Whatever it is, it could be this video, it could be something else. It's like there's something in the back of your head that kind of keeps like scratching at it. Trust it. Start exploring with it. All right, for people with card number 2, we have yes. Just say yes. All right, so is there something that you're kind of going back and forth on? Is there something that you're not quite sure? Like, you're like, I don't know. I feel like specifically people for this is like, there's something that like, when you see this card, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, I know. So I feel like Spirit's telling you just like, go for it. This may also be a message to just say yes to life. Just say yes to your power. Just say yes to whatever it is that you're kind of resisting. Just say yes. All right. And the last card for card number 3 is Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. Well, that's beautiful. That's our guides. So again, for the beings who picked card number 3, this is a really strong message for you, this video. This is your guides coming through. Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. This video is specifically for you to engage in and to look at, and to also start really, this is the year for you to really connect into your guides in a really powerful way. Of course, everyone who is here in this video, who's come across this video, this is a reflection of you. This is something that you've put out either in a subtle way or a very conscious way. So this is the message for you. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you'd like to see videos like this in the future, definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell and hit the like button, because it really, really helps. And comment down below. I love to hear from you guys. It's always amazing to get comments from you guys. The comments have been flooding in recently. The subscriptions have been flooding in, and I have just been living for it. I love connecting with you guys. It's amazing. I love hearing your perspectives, your synchronicities, all of those yummy things. So thank you so much for engaging in your path, engaging in your shadows, engaging in your healing and your integration, and just engaging fully in your current incarnation. You are a blessing, and I am really, really, I have a lot of gratitude for being in this reality with you, and we are teammates. We chose this. We're coming up to 555 here on the time. We are here as a team to create oneness, to create wholeness, to create healing, to create connection, and to ascend this planet into its next stage of evolution. So thank you so much for being on the team. You're beautiful, you're amazing. Even if you don't always see it, it's there to be expressed, and it's just about fully engaging with it and allowing for the non-judgment to happen so that you can fully engage in it. So thank you so much for doing your work, for doing your job here on the planet, for bringing your medicine, whatever that is right now. I honor you. I thank you so much. You are amazing. Thank you for being on the planet right now with me. I have much gratitude. So thank you so much. Many blessings. Namaste. And don't forget, it is all about the soul journey. Bye.